Welcome to you, our first attendee. I don't know who you are.
Welcome to the second session of the day.
Can you hear us well? Okay, so meanwhile, if you'd like to vote for the scenario you would like to see first, you can type in the chat scenario 1 or scenario 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Can you hear me well? Hello, Andrew. Can you hear me well? Yes, okay. Okay, perfect. Hello, Murdoch. Not quite sure about the Murdoch. Thank you, Jermaine. Okay, good. All right. You are the early ones. So if you'd like to vote for the scenario you would like Jermaine to show first, you can vote. There are the two scenarios on screen. First one is controlling access to reports, and the second one, monitoring user activity. So if you'd like to vote for the one you'd like to see first, you can type in chat. And we're going to wait for a few more minutes to have everyone on board with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are going to wait for a couple more minutes just to make sure everyone has time to join. Welcome to everyone, to those who joined just now. And yes, we have two scenarios we would like to cover today. And so if you would like to vote for the one you would like to see first, you can do so in the chat. Would actually be nice that we have some votes. We make that a little bit more interactive. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you for voting. Let's all vote. Let's all be responsible cybersecurity professionals contributing to the greater good, casting your vote.
Okay, I think it is now time for us to start. So I'm gonna kick this off. So thank you for the voting. So hello everyone, I am Marie Romandière, partner in crime of Germain today. I will be your voice too. So the format for today is that we have 2 demos for which you can vote, and I think we'll go first with scenario 2. You won't have the ability to speak nor to be seen. You have the ability, though, to write through the chat. Just be mindful that everyone can see. The webinar will last about 25 minutes, and we will have time at the end for the Q&A. We will keep them for the end, unless it's really important that we take them now. And so, yeah, we'll try to make that as interactive as possible. So we ask you question. Please don't leave me alone with Germain and help me to make that as interactive as possible. Without further ado, I let you take the ground, Germain.
Yep. So thank you everyone for joining the call. My name is Germain Injamanze, lead solution engineer at Filigran for the EMEA region. I'm based in France, like Marie, and I'm happy to be on the call with you all to walk you through how we accomplish these scenarios, both in Community Edition and Enterprise Edition. So starting with scenario 2, how do we monitor user activity in OpenCTI? So
Yes.
first of all,
I have
sorry,
a question.
Yes, go ahead, Marie.
About that scenario 2, what I'd like to see is how can I see who logged into the platform, what reports they read, and what changes did they make?
Okay, understood. To answer your question, I'll share my screen. So I'll just begin the screen sharing here. And it's an interesting question you've asked because it's very relevant to not just threat intelligence and OpenCTI, but cybersecurity generally speaking. A personal anecdote I'd like to share with the audience is that I am currently studying to pass my CISSP, that the infamous certification which teaches you pretty much everything there is to know about cybersecurity at a surface level, but basically cover all aspects of cybersecurity, of info security, and it's a tough nut to crack. For those who have passed the CISSP or who are in the process of passing it, you know how thick those books are, how much content there is in there. But I'm trying, and one of the first concepts I learned was the importance of the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity of the data, and availability of the data. And so traceability and accountability are essential to accomplish those 3 goals: being able to keep track of who is navigating your infrastructure, accessing your databases, your tools, what changes are they making, if any, when did they make those changes, did they create data, export data, etc. So being able to keep track of user activity is absolutely essential for that. And there are also other use cases, more business-oriented ones, whereby you might want to check that your stakeholders are logging into the platform to read the reports that you have spent time building for them. You want to make sure that your constituents, your colleagues, your customers are actually taking an interest, and they're actually leveraging all the research, all the efforts that you put into the platform. Now, the problem with Community Edition of OpenCTI, I mean, OpenCTI is a great tool. And as you might have seen from the previous webinar yesterday, there's a lot of stuff you can do in OpenCTI. But one of its limitations of the Community Edition specifically is, and I'll zoom in on the screen to make sure it's not too fuzzy for everyone, because some attendees mentioned earlier that it was a bit blurry. The problem with Community Edition is that you cannot actually monitor user activity in the platform. I navigated on the left-hand side of my screen to the settings section, and then I clicked on activity. And the problem here is that I need the Enterprise Edition license to be able to use this feature. So if you have Community Edition, it's great for testing purposes. It's great for a proof of value exercise, a trial period. It's great for home labs, but it's not ideal for production purposes because with the Community Edition of Enterprise Edition, you don't have that visibility, that data that you need to say, I am compliant with GDPR, or I am compliant with SOC 2, or I am compliant with ISO 27001. You don't have those logs. However, if you have your Enterprise Edition of OpenCTI and you navigate to settings and then activity, you can see all the logs, all the activity, and search for the activity on a user basis. You can search for activity based on the type of event or based on the timestamp. All sorts of different types of filtering criteria that you can use to find data through the front end. And these logs are also available and exportable in the back end. So you can then send this down to your data lake or your CM solution or whatever tool you're using to monitor your application logs. Now, besides being able to search for information about myself in the front end, I can also illustrate these metrics as a dashboard in Enterprise Edition. So if I click on dashboards and custom dashboards, I have a dashboard which I built specifically for this webinar, and I can export this dashboard as a JSON to share with the audience. If you're interested, I will share this in the Slack community. A great incentive for you to join our Slack community, by the way, over 5,000 active users in the Filigrana Slack community. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see all the widgets that I put together, and then I'll zoom back in so that you can see exactly what's being illustrated here. In my OpenCTI, and the way your OpenCTI should also be configured for all the members of the audience, I have a user account per connector, and of course per human being that logs into the platform. And so what I can show in my dashboard are widgets that illustrate which sources of data, which user accounts are generating the most content, are creating the most content, and the volumes of data that they're creating in a specific time range. In this case, I've chosen since beginning of time, but I could set in the last month which sources of data created most. I can also illustrate this data as timelines, as pie charts, as horizontal bar charts, vertical bar charts, radars, all the different types of widgets that you can see in the platform. If I go on the blue plus icon and I click on the creative widget button, all these different visualizations are available. And what's important is that I select the activity and history option as a perspective. Then all those filters, all the filtering criteria which I saw in the audit logging screen before, where you could see my name listed several times, I have them here as well. And so now I'm able to also check. I created these widgets look the same because this one at the top, these two at the top consider all user accounts, whereas the bottom ones, I filtered out the connectors. So we're only looking at our human beings. And I can see, for example, my colleague Damien has been very, very busy. Congratulations, Damien. 91.5% of all content created in the last month was created by him. Maybe he deserves a raise. You know, I should go and give him a high five. Maybe buy him a couple of beers or a cup of coffee, depending on what time of the day is. And then I can see who's updating the most. It's me. Hey, of course, I have to go and review what all my colleagues are doing. And then who's deleting the most? Mark. Why is Mark deleting stuff? I need to go and check it out. Maybe I need to go and talk to Mark as well, not for the same reasons. Or maybe he's actually responsible for triaging the old data and getting rid of it. These kind of metrics can be great, not only, as I said, to keep track of who is doing what on the platform, for security purposes, but also for your business purposes. Which of my team members are the most productive? Which ones have been slacking off? And I don't want to put it as a means for you to, what's the word? Monitor your team and watch over their shoulder and breathe down their neck and micromanage. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes you have to justify your investment in these security solutions. You have to justify your security budget, your return on investment, and these types of metrics, being able to show that yes, we're making progress, yes, research is being done, yes, we did the right thing to hire this analyst who's ex-military, and maybe he was asking for more, a higher salary than the market rate, but he's totally worth it. Look at all the content he's producing. High five to Damien. These types of things are very important, and also not just for monitoring your internal activity, but we're going to talk about data segregation on an organization basis. And in the case, let's imagine you're a threat sharing community like an ISAC, or let's imagine that you are a MSSP. Let's imagine that you are a multinational organization that has one central platform that's shared across your different business units, maybe the US East Coast business unit, the West Coast business unit, the South America business unit, the Australia business unit, and so on and so forth. Maybe each business unit has its own small security team, and you're all collaborating and sharing data, and you want to see who is, logging in and benefiting the most from your research and validating your research. These dashboards, great way to illustrate it. And they all depend on that audit logging feature, activity audit logging. Marie, does that answer your question about how to keep track of who's logging in and who's doing what on the platform?
Yes, I think so. Thank you, Jermaine. We can move to the other scenario.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry, what scenario was that, Marie? If you could please remind me.
So the first one is controlling access to reports. And so I have a question for you again. I have some reports that I want to share with Team A, and some reports that I only want to share with Team B, and some more reports that I want both teams to see. How can I do this with OpenCTI?
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so I will answer that question by first showing how it can be done in the Community Edition, and then I'll show how it can be done in Enterprise Edition, and you'll see it's very different answers. So right now I'm navigating in my Community Edition instance, and you know that because you can see here it's asked me to activate the Enterprise Edition license. It's not activated. But what all versions, all editions of OpenCTI can do is they can provide role-based access control. If I navigate to settings and parameters, security, settings and security, and on the right-hand side, they all enable you to manage roles, groups, and users. And the organizations option is always there as well, but it's not used in the Community Edition. In the Community Edition, I can create as many user accounts as I want. I can create as many groups as I want, and I can create as many roles as I want. And I can assign as many users as I want to as many groups as I want, and I can assign as many roles as I want to as many groups as I want. So with those three aspects combined, roles, groups, and users, I can get pretty granular in terms of deciding who has access to what, who can do what. And when I say access to what, I want to be very clear that with the roles, you are controlling access to specific features of the platform, access to actions that you can or cannot accomplish. For example, here from my role checklist, you can see I can decide whether you are able to export images from the platform, export PDF files. Are you able to import knowledge or not? Are you able to consult dashboards or not? Are you able to create investigations, edit them, delete them, etc.? Now, bear in mind, here I'm saying, can I access any dashboard at all? I'm not restricting access to a specific dashboard. In investigations, I'm saying here, can this user or can this role grant you access to any investigations at all? Not specific investigations. And this is a key concept to understand. With the community edition, you can restrict access to specific parts of the platform, but not specifically to data in the platform. And I've had some peers say to me, but Jermaine, what about marking definitions? We can use marking definitions to restrict access. And for those who don't know, marking definitions, well, I'll take an example that I think everyone is familiar with. It's the TLP, Traffic Light Protocol. Items marked with the Traffic Light Protocol clear is basically public information that anyone could find anywhere on Google, for example, or Bing, or any search engine. You'll find that data. Green is a little less available. Amber is you're getting pretty confidential, and then red is pretty much top secret, not to be shared with anyone. Anyone who on it's shared to be shared on a need to know basis, essentially. Now, marking definitions in Community Edition can be used to a very limited extent, can be used to restrict access to knowledge. So you can say that a specific group can have access to any data that has the specific marking definition. So for example, I created a group A that has access to any item with marking definition A. And then group B has access to any report that has a marking definition B. But what happens if I have a report that shares both marking definition A and marking definition B? What happens in that instance? And if I scroll over to the right, you can see here, I have a report with marking definition A, a report marking definition B, and a report marking definition A and B. So rather than just tell you the answer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up another browser window I have where I'm logged into the same community instance, but this time I'm logged in with as a member of the group A. So if you see here, profile is a non-filigrane account. If I go back to my other screen, you'll see that. Let me go to settings, security, and users. And where's my non-filigrane account? Here he is. In fact, I'm going to rename him to make it a bit easier to understand. Name is Group A User. There you go. That's your new name, Group A User. And Group A User is part of Group A. Okay. Group A User is part of Group A. Now let me go back to my window here. You see, yeah, the name updated itself. Group A User. So I'm logged in as Group A User. That means I can only see reports that have marking definition A. Report with marking definition A. And yes, that's the only report popping up in my screen. Why can't I see the other report that also has a marking definition A? Well, because that other report, and I'll go back here to show you, this other report that has marking definition A and B, report marking A and B, if I click here, you can't see this because, well, Group A User can't see it because Group A User does not have access to data with marking definition B. So you might think, well, if I just put both marking definitions, then both groups can access it. No. Both groups need access to both marking definitions if you want to share the report with both groups. Okay. And the more groups you get, the more of a headache this becomes, because all of a sudden, maybe Group C needs to get involved as well, and they have their own marking definition, and then Group D, Group E. I mean, if you've ever been part of an ISAC or a threat sharing community, you know how many members there are. Imagine having to manage as many marking definitions as there are members. Forget about it, as they say on the East Coast. Forget about it. Sorry, my accents aren't great, but I'm trying. Now, all this was Community Edition. Imagine what you could do with Enterprise Edition. In fact, don't imagine. Let me show you what you can do with Enterprise Edition. Now I'm navigating back to my instance that has Enterprise Edition. And in my Enterprise Edition version of OpenCTI, I can leverage roles, groups, users, and organizations. Now, being able to leverage organizations is going to make my life so much easier because users can be part of organizations. And that means that if I share a report with an organization, then all the users who are part of that organization and only the users who are part of that organization can see that data. So I'm going to take an example report here, this FunkSec ransomware report published by AlienVault. And you'll see I have access to a button up here, which I don't have access to in Community Edition. And just to compare, so I'm back in my Community Edition. Let me take this report, the same report, marking A and B. I'll zoom out a little bit, make it a bit easier for me to see. You see up here this button is labeled Share with an organization, and it's gray. Here, the button is blue. Blue is good. Blue means I can interact with it. Gray is bad. Gray means I need to enter a license. You see, you get your license pop up. Now, with the blue Enterprise Edition version of my OpenCTI, I click on Share with an organization, and I can choose exactly who I want to share this with. Do I want to share this with 8220 gang? Probably not. Sounds like the wrong people there. Internal blue team. I want to share with internal blue team. They're good people because they're internal and it's the blue team, right? They need this kind of information, and I can share with them. And then if I also want to share with the red team, I can, because there's no restriction in this case on marking definitions or labels. It's a matter of sharing with the organization you want to share it with. So here you see the icon appearing here, internal blue team, and let me share with the red team. I type in red, internal red team, share, and there's no conflict. Reds and blues cohabiting, coexisting in a peaceful environment, OpenCTI, showing you the way. Now, I can also use this shared with criteria as a filter. You see here, when I go up to my report section and I type a filter, I can filter on which reports have been shared. Shared with who? Shared with anyone. I want to see any report that has been shared. So the shared with value is not empty, it is full. It is not empty. I nearly confused myself there, but I hope you can follow me. So you see, any report that is shared appears in this list. And again, I can also use that filter in my dashboards. I can show a widget that shows me all the reports that have been shared with a specific organization or with specific organizations. Now, not only can I do this manually to navigate to a report and share with someone, but if you attended yesterday's webinars and you learned about the automation playbooks, which are also provided with the Enterprise Edition of OpenCTI, you would see that the concept of disseminating data with the right stakeholders at the right time, the organizations basically, can be accomplished in our automation playbooks. So you see here, if I click on the plus icon, we have a step here that says share with organizations. And I can enter all the organizations I want to share with, like TwoSign, like 3M, like whichever other organization I have in my blue team, red team, etc. So not only can I share with them, I can also notify them with my automation playbook and make sure that my constituents, my colleagues, my customers, all the relevant stakeholders benefit from timely information, relevant and timely information. All the research and hard work you're putting into your threat intelligence research, make sure they get it and appreciate it when they need it. So I'm wondering if there's anything I might have forgotten, but I think that wraps up my answer to your question, Marie. And thank you for your questions, by the way.
Yes, it does. And so I put a note in the chat, but I'd like to emphasize that if you would like to ask a question, I will be your voice. So don't hesitate. This is now the time for the question, because we went through both of the scenarios. And while you take the time to think about your question, I have a few things I'd like to tell you. This webinar is part of a series. Yesterday, we went through the first one, reduce your time to detection with automated workflows, like Jermaine mentioned. And tomorrow we're going with the last part, effortless report generation, inform your exec with a click. So if you didn't register for this one, you can go on the landing page. I'm going to put that in the chat as well, so that's easy for you. And we will do that again 2 times a day. So depending on your time zone, you can totally join at the time you prefer. So exactly like today. Something else about the resources. When will the recordings be available? Well, on Friday on the webinar series page and through email. I will send them through email. If you would like to book a demo because you would like something more personal and customized, reach out to us. I also put a link in the chat, so you can do that on your own, book your own demo in the chat. And last thing, it's about the Filigrane Academy that we launched on Monday. So very, very fresh. You will find it on our website, filigrane.io. There is a banner on top. If you click, it will direct you straight to the academy, and it's a tailored learning path, hands-on simulation, and you can also get certified and get badges that you can then display on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And there are already free courses available, so you just need to register. I see we have a question from Shahid. Hi, do you have a similar webinar series to showcase what can be done with the community edition? I think we have resources. Totally, we have resources available about what can be done with Community Edition on our website already. And Jermaine, where else can people find information? On Slack?
Yeah. So we have, as I mentioned, we have our Slack community, which is a great starting point to get ideas and inspiration for what to accomplish with Community Edition. We are releasing, I don't know if it's been released yet or if we are releasing, Marie, correct me if I'm wrong, Filigrane Academy, which is
on Monday.
On Monday, it will be released on Monday.
No, it was released last Monday.
It was released on Monday, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the Filigrane Academy, it's a newly revamped online e-learning platform. And why I like it is because it's super interactive. It's not just a series of videos that you watch one after the other and you can fall asleep. No. It's got some interactive capture the flag exercises where you have to navigate the interface and find the button that's being discussed, find the functionalities being discussed, the use cases, and understand them properly and test them. Very cool. You progress at your own pace. No time limit. For me, that would be the starting point to get to grips with what's possible with the community edition version of OpenCTI. We do release videos on our YouTube channel, and it's the beauty of open source. Everything is very transparent and available online. Our documentation is also publicly available for our platform. So yeah, that's where Shahid, I would encourage you to look for content to showcase what can be done with Community Edition. Also, our community calls. So the community calls, I guess the closest thing to a webinar would be our community calls, where we sometimes have our CEO or our CTO or our VP of product management come to present our roadmap and the new functionalities that we release for both Community Edition and Enterprise Edition. So those are great. That's a great newsletter to be part of. The community calls, user groups, I think is the word I was looking for, Marie. We have OpenCTI and OpenBAS community calls and user groups, which are online sessions like this one, and you can ask questions live, get answers live as well.
Yes, I'm trying to get the date of the next one. If I can find, yes, it will be April 10th, the next community call. And you can register on our website.
Thank you for the question, Shahid.
So, any more question then I think we will let you go back to work or go back home, depending on where you are. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We hope to see you tomorrow. And anyway, you'll hear from us on Friday with the recordings.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending and for your attention. And thank you, Marie, for being an awesome partner in crime.
Thank you, Jermaine. You were great today, too. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.